So I'm logged in as Jane. She's a service manager rep, and she's going to come in her daily duties and come into our portal, which is in SharePoint. If you don't have SharePoint available, you can use SharePoint Framework, or if you already have SharePoint Enterprise in it. We have these components and parts that are out of the box you can just plug in that allow you to interact with the Sequence Kinetic process engine and be able to see the open activities or tasks that require that person. This is fully customizable. It can be stripped down to just show the inbox to certain people. You don't have to show graphs on the side if you want. You can make it more high level and consolidate different tasks and things so you can see at a manager's level. You can see here we have a custom part showing just a certain process. This happens to be an employee onboarding process, so these are on. We have custom fields that can be put in from a process to show pending, employee name, or things like that. And then down here we have an open process. So Jane's going to start her day by going in and actually starting a new process. So just to keep in mind, this is considered SharePoint, and we call this a flow time portal. It makes it easy to operate, manage, and monitor the tasks and the processes throughout your organization because you have one. It's highly configurable and customized using SharePoint parts. And since you're in here, you can utilize, documents, views, contents, and things like that. So you can make a very rich environment. And if you already have a SharePoint environment, we can just insert and plug right into what the employee is used to seeing. So Jane's going to come in and start a new process. So there's two different ways. You can come over here and click on this part, or you could go into the business process list over here. We're going to click on here. And as you can see, we're presented with a list of processes this organization has that we're actually going to be able to execute. We're going to come down here, and today's is the service request. Once we launch the service request, we're brought into a window. And as you can see, there's three different parts that we're going to talk about. On this side is the metadata that's associated with this product. This process is used to be able to describe who touched it, when they touched it, when the activity was created, and this can be used as an audit trail because we know that there's a lot of compliance going on today, whether it's governmental or financial or things like that, or just interorganizational. You need to know when, why, and who touched this. The advantage of this is if you had a normal paper trail, you wouldn't be able to keep track of this. This is going to allow you to have more control over what's going on and how and who and what touched it. Down here is a view that's going to show a hierarchical tree that's going to show you what's going on in the process. Now keep in mind, this doesn't necessarily have to be shown to the end user. I'm just doing this for the demo, and as you can see, we could just present this view to your end user. But for this demonstration, I'm going to show you this so we can see it. Up here on the top, we have another part that we call it social BPM. You can ask questions, put comments, and process wall. We'll show a little bit more about this later on. And in the middle, we have a typical HTML5 page. It's compliant. It can be used across a smartphone, a tablet, in any web browser. Many different components and parts in here. We have calendars, we have drop-down list, and we have many other parts. As you'll see, we have a grid here that a lot of our customers find very helpful in showing in a tabular format data that's associated with it. Well, Jane gets a call in from somebody needing a new request for a laptop, so we're going to sit here and start our process. So we're going to come in here and we're going to get customer detail, and this person happens to be from Sorrel, Inc. And as you can see, as we click on Sorrel, all of a sudden we have data that's filled in with reference, address, postcode, and telephone. This was pulled in from a back-end CRM system. Sequence Kinetic has the capability of connecting to any of your back-end systems, be it SAP, Oracle databases, SharePoint, or any other thing through a robust API set or through wizards right here within the development environment. Over here we have a view of the location. It's a map. You can do geolocation, things like that. And over here we have customer details. If you can see, we drop down. We have three different people in this contact. If we go over, just to show you that we're dynamically actually talking about it, we can click on the next person, and we can see this information has changed. And we go over here and look at the drop-down list, and we see we have no contact details, so we could actually put new contact detail in. We're going back to Sorrel. We're going to pick a contact. Again, as we pick the contact, you can see the information is filled in automatically because we've gone back into your back-end CRM system to get it. We're going to put in a date. Again, we have a rich date calendar control that we can pick the date and be able to put it in. If you wanted to change the date back to the 12th or move it forward saying he needs it on the 15th. Here we're going to select request type. We have different types of requests. In this case, if you remember from the original diagram I showed you, that it possibly needs an approval. We're going to choose request type 1 because it's going to assign a dollar amount, and if needed, it'll push this process through for requests. Again, we said the person's going to request a laptop. Needs new laptop. So you can see we have rich controls. We can put it, customer, traveling, needs new laptop. Fill out that. We can set a prior to it. Again, these rich controls down here can be attached to databases that you have internally or lists off of SharePoint, or we can allow you through a wizard to dynamically build these drop downs and have values populated. Put in a customer reference. And here we have another control that we can do attachments. We're going to attach a sample sheet. This could be a work order. This could be a diagram of something, perhaps if somebody's going out to look at a process or on a floor for management or something like that. Down here, again, we talked about the rich control. We have tab capabilities here. We can look at the service request history. Well, she's going to sit here and actually submit this process. So she's going to go ahead and submit the process. So as you can see, the data was successfully submitted. Now over here, you can see that we have the next step, which is service management of the thing. And you can see there's 3 people in here. This has been pushed out to a queue. We have 3 different types of queue. We have a load balance queue, we have a fetch queue, and we have a direct queue. The difference between the 3 queues, this one right here is a fetch queue. Basically, it's distributed to people in the service management group that we allow you to set up, or perhaps you have an Active Directory already set up through your schema, a group. Now this goes out to all 3 people, and it's going to require one of these persons to take ownership of this in order to be able to work on it. We have a direct queue. If you wanted to sit there and specifically direct which way the actual process went, you could send it just to Helen Green, or you could send it to Peter Green if it was a more structured type of process that always had to go to a certain person. Then we have what we call a load balance queue that would automatically sit there, and based on the workload of any of these 3 people in this service management group, would distribute it. So if Helen had 10 and Peter had 10, this would automatically go to Mark because maybe he only had 9. So we're done with this process right now. We're going to close in. But Jane gets a call, and somebody's asking, well, what's going on with this process? She can actually go in and actually view the status of this process. And we can actually go in and see that we're showing that these little check boxes up here show that this process is done, and we're down here waiting on this process request. Well, Jane's going to log out now, so the next task can go on because we've assigned it to the service request people.